A very good afternoon to you watching KTN Weekend at 1. My name is Najma Ismail. Now, the Isiolo community is currently holding a security conference, the first of its kind in this area. The conference comprises of religious leaders, businessmen and political leaders. Our reporter Ian Wafula is attending the conference and now joins us live from Isiolo with the very latest. Ian, what is happening exactly there on the ground?
Thank you very much, Najma. Just like you said, we've had quite a unique event happening here. Local leaders, we also have human rights activists and the residents of the Isiolo community generally put together a number of youth to discuss certain issues. Among them, the top issues being discussed was radicalization, matters of lack of identification cards, and also insecurity generally in the area. Other than radicalization, we are also seeing that a number of youth have been involved in organized crime. In fact, today we had a chance to talk to some of the people who are through one of the groups here called Peace and Awareness Youth Group, which is trying to rehabilitate the youth. They brought forward a number of youth who have sort of reformed away from this organized group, and they confess some of the things they used to do before. Other than that, they also raised the issue about identification cards. They are saying that the majority of them, once they finish high school, they're not able to get ID cards, and therefore it makes it hard for them to move around the country, and so they are confined to Italy. This also kind of hinders them from other opportunities such as employment, and they are kind of lagging behind in terms of development. And of course, the issue of radicalization with no identification cards, therefore that means no employment, and so most of these youth, you find that they are joining extreme groups such as Al-Shabaab. So Najma, those are some of the crucial issues that were just being discussed here.
And what are some of the measures that the leaders say that can be used to counter radicalization?
One of the things that I have noted from the conference is that really there was the feel of the lack of support from the central government and even the county government, because we only had the MCA, the area MCA coming here, so the people were feeling as though the government did not really take this matter seriously. But what the MCA called Ado, he said that the issue of identification cards should be addressed as soon as possible, and he was saying that anyone who has an issue should even make his way to his office, and he can try to enable them to get to work with the officers to enable them to get identification cards.
A lot of these youth, Ian, are being lured into terrorist activities and organized crime because of lack of jobs. And how will the leaders ensure that the youth are empowered to avoid such?
Well, one of the forums that they are promoting is one like this non-governmental organization called Peace and Awareness, which brings the youth together. They have mentorship programs. They also have, they have a number of businesses where they are engaged in so that to just keep themselves busy. We've also seen some of them, they sit through some special examinations just to help them go through, because most of them drop out Form 4, just to help them get some knowledge. So in that way, the youth are being involved. Remember that Najma, when President Barack Obama came to Kenya, he said that one of the ways that you can address radicalization is through the use of civil society. They're using civil society to reach out to groups that are being targeted for recruitment. And so an organization such as the Peace and Awareness Youth Group is one of a kind, because it brings together the youth from the street and it helps them to be engaged, and therefore in a way it addresses the issue of radicalization.
I don't know if you managed to talk to some of the youth there, but what are they saying about the profiling of certain communities in that area?
Well, the profiling has been an issue, especially in the Somali community. Remember, back then we also saw Usalama Watch, which was an operation to try and address terrorism in the country, and it was mostly focused in Italy. And this is the time that we saw the Somali community, so to say, being profiled very much so, and of course it was marred by a lot of mistreatment, and the human rights organizations complained that it was against human rights violation. So they are not very pleased with how the government is handling their community particularly. In fact, another thing that came out, Najma, they are opposing the proposed bill to have the Kenya Defense Forces involved in civilian activities, because they say that they feel that by having KDF do that, they are not really trusting the defense forces to handle civilian activities, just because of what we've seen previously when it comes to profiling.
Just before I let you go there, Ian, how is the turnout? Have the youth turned up in large numbers, or the?
Well, quite. It's in a conference hall, and it was packed to the brim. In fact, others were standing outside. So I can say that the turnout was good. A lot of positive energy coming from them. And if these conferences and these organizations continue with this kind of programs, many of the people here believe that the youth in Kilifi will change, and radicalization may soon become a thing of the past.
Thank you very much. Ian Wafula there. We'll be keeping an eye on that story. Radicalization or security conference happening in Isiolo. Moving on now, Public Accounts Committee Chairman Nicholas Gumbo has criticized the Jubilee administration for what he terms as laxity in addressing corruption. The Rarieda MP cited the grand loss of revenue for the Kenya Airways and the recent report of the Auditor General.
The issues of corruption is a major concern in our country because it's reached a level where it's beyond cancer now. Actually, it's soon becoming a national crisis. If you look at what is happening even in the counties, even both national government and the counties, I think we have to decide as the people of Kenya, collectively, because to say, for example, the other day I was in the TV interview and we were saying, oh, Parliament is not doing enough. But look, Parliament cannot arrest people. Parliament cannot prosecute. Parliament only exercises the mandate on behalf of the people to say, according to our assessment, so and so and so and so is culpable. They should be further investigated, prosecuted, and charged. That aspect of investigation, there's an investigative arm of government, principally the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. There is the prosecutorial arm of government, principally the Directorate of Public Prosecution. Then there is, of course, the trial process, which is done by the courts. So unless that daisy chain works in tandem, then it becomes an exercise in vanity.
Now, members of the National Civil Society Congress want President Uhuru Kenyatta to reject amendments to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Act. The amendments, which were passed by the National Assembly, seek to, among other things, send home the EACC Secretary and his deputy. The civil society members argue that the amendments will set a wrong precedence of firing people through legal amendments. Now, addressing a press conference, they also called for a probe into the operations of national carrier Kenya Airways following its 25.7 billion shilling loss.
Section 17 of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Act provides the procedure for removal. And we know that in the past, people who have been removed from office through amendments, as has been proposed in this case, have actually been paid. And this is something that the public doesn't know. That these guys, when they challenge these actions by the National Assembly, they end up being paid millions of taxpayers' money because these things are being done unprocedurally. In our view, wasted a very good opportunity to strengthen the fight against corruption.
Corruption in Kenya is sliding out of control. Veteran anti-corruption activist and whistleblower John Githongo has warned in an interview following a scathing audit of government finances.
This administration isn't going to have one Goldenberg or one Anglo-leasing. We have several of them going on at the same time. You know, even just going through the Auditor General's report, it's clear that we've reached a scale of looting that surpasses anything that we've ever had in Kenyan history. There is now a very strong urge, motivation to also mobilize heavy resources for the next elections. That being the case, in this permissive environment, combined with a government that doesn't have a strategy against corruption, never had one, and the fact that the elections are coming means that corruption in Kenya is only going to get worse.
Head teachers of public schools have arrived in Mombasa ahead of their week-long annual teachers' conference. The teachers are expected to discuss the recent standoff with their employer, the Teachers Service Commission, over the recent salary award by the High Court. Now, our reporter Francis Ontomwe is following these developments, but right now, let's hear what the teachers expect to achieve in this conference.
I must say that again we are holding this conference when so many things are happening in the country, especially in education. We have education reforms. You have been reading this, and as the key implementers of these reforms, we want to tell the country that we have been participating as main stakeholders, the review of curriculum, the question of the discipline in the schools, and integration of digital integration in our curriculum is also being addressed, and we are the key people.
We want to appreciate what the government is doing in the FPE, but we are requesting that they should at least think about infrastructure in schools. Why? Because our schools that had not developed right now, they are really disintegrating, and the children are learning under earth classrooms, and learning has become a very big challenge. We cannot compare the results of such schools with other well-built schools. Or else if the government is finding it a challenge, then why can't they ask the county governments to take over the infrastructure? They remain with the employing of teachers and teachers' salaries.
Now, over 500 women in Ruaka demonstrated in the streets of Banana in Kiambu. The residents were angry because their sub-chief was interdicted by Kiambu County Commissioner. The residents said that the sub-chief has been helping in the fight against illicit liquor in the region. They said that the chief has been in the forefront of helping the youth in the area. Now they want the president and key stakeholders to help them in getting their chief back.
Hajawahi hata siku moja tukamkosa katika umwagikaji wa pombe hapa. Kila siku tukimuita anakuja anahudhuria. Ruaka ilikuwa karibu kukufa, lakini wakati alipokuja akasimama, Mbogwa amemwaga pombe Ruaka kabisa.
Tukimoja pombe imemwagwa katika lokesheni, lakini Ruaka ndio tumeongoza kwa kumwaga pombe chini ya uongozi wa naibu wetu wa chifu Stephen Mbogwa. Lakini kwa sababu ya kumwaga pombe ameguza wale ambao hakufaa kuguza, akina Musa tunawajua na wengine, lakini kwa sababu amewaguza ndio maana tunakuta anafutwa kazi. Tunauliza, kwani mtu matendo yake upimwa na nini? Kama kumwaga pombe ndio makosa yake, ama kama kwani wana makosa mengine, bona hayakuwa kabla hajamwaga pombe?
Kwa Musa tunataka kwenda kusoma sasa hivi adhambe Ruaka, na tunaambia DD hiyo shamba itatuweka ya dirikari. Na hiyo headman ya bwana iko kazi. Na yeye anamwaga bombe kabisa. Nasikia? Na kila siku. Na sisi tunakwenda usiku saa 3 tunarudi nyumbani. Yote na Mungu ni bombe, watoto hakuna. Sasa tunasema nini na hiyo watoto bana saa?
Hapa mimi ndio kiongozi, mimi mzee wa kijiji hapa. Mimi nimefika menopause, I don't mind. Hata nikiwawa. Lakini huyu Koinange yeye hataki Mbogwa. Na Mbogwa naye kwa sababu alikuwa anafanya na polisi. Leo tumeambiwa ati iko mtu mwingine anapiga simu kabla tuingie huko, ikasemekana Mbogwa must be suspended for other reasons. Which reasons? I don't know.
Very angry Ruaka residents there airing their displeasure. Moving on, NAT Secretary General Wilson Sossion says that his life is in danger after the industrial court ordered the government to pay teachers up to 50 to 60% of their salaries. At the same time, Sossion condemned the government for corruption deals, saying that billions of shillings is lost in the pockets of a few top leaders. He was speaking at Tenewek Boys High School during the prize-giving day.
Hey, look at the government of Kenya. You are not treating teachers well. We were condemned. You know, I was arrested in 2013 and convicted in jail. Not because I'm a criminal, but because I spoke the truth. And I'm prepared to go back to jail again. More than prepared than ever before. More prepared. And I know I am a marked man. Wherever I go, yesterday I was in Mary. And they send the whole band of CIDs. And I'm sure there are CID officers here. True. Atakuwa yote leo mkiona msiponiona tena because they've been following me with CIDs. Everywhere I go with CIDs. They've even taken my phone because I speak the truth. I send a good message to Kaimeni. And I was told by the global community that that was a soft message. You should have sent a stronger one, and therefore I still send another stronger one because I must tell them the truth. Pay teachers or face us, and you'll face us on and on and on until we liberate ourselves. We are not happy. The way they're treating teachers, the way they're treating the country. And so we are telling them under no uncertain terms, move to the Supreme Court at your own peril. Move to the Supreme Court at your own peril. We will not hurt you, we will not hurt these children. We have our own way of dealing with it. And if our patience is already running out, then a political option in future will be a strong one. And we'll do it village to village and interview the next president of the Republic of Kenya. We'll do that.
To Malindi now, the tourism industry in the area in Malindi, Kilifi County has received a major boost after thousands of foreign and domestic tourists thronged the beaches to participate in the second edition of Watamu Beach Rugby. Most hotels in Malindi and Watamu recorded maximum bookings following the two-day rugby tournament organized by the Kilifi County government in a bid to revive tourism sector in the county. Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi said they will organize a series of similar sports in a bid to revive the sector. Most hotels in the county had been closed down and more than 3,000 workers laid off due to lack of tourists following cases of insecurity that have been reported in the neighboring counties. Well, that's it on the weekend at 1, but don't go too far. I will be back with more news on KTN News.